chased us into the hills. Oh, they let the wolves off of the leash. Should've finished the kill. We got ashes on our shoes and an outcast attitude. And we're all immune, cause we know the truth is viral. We might be the outsiders, but the in-crowd is so out right now. Yeah, we might be the outsiders, but the in-crowd is so out right now. No bones, no drama, we live how we wanna. Yeah, we might be the outsiders, be the outsiders, the outsiders. We sat in tents up on the fringe, with our backs to the cool. Now, hand in our heads, we fit right in, cause they gave us the fuel. We got ashes on our shoes and an outcast attitude. Yeah, we're all immune, cause you know the truth is viral. We might be the outsiders, but the in-crowd is so out right now. Yeah, we might be the outsiders, but the in-crowd is so out right now. No bones, no drama, we live how we wanna. Yeah, we might be the outsiders, be the outsiders, the outsiders. We don't need good reputations. We don't need no thought control. We don't need good reputations. Our smiles are real, we don't fake them. We don't need no thought control. We may be the outsiders, but the in-crowd is so out right now. Yeah, we might be the outsiders, but the in-crowd is so out right now. No bones, no drama, we live how we wanna. Yeah, we might be the outsiders, be the outsiders, the outsiders. We don't need good reputations. We don't need no thought control. We don't need good reputations. Our smiles are real, we don't fake them. We don't need no thought control.
Burn it down!
Alright, how's it going, everybody? It's C-RadTV back here with another video. So, of course, since everyone's had their thoughts on this one, I thought I'd come out here and I'd give my thoughts on the whole map, on where I stand with Matt Patricia and the Detroit Lions. Because everyone's named their thoughts about it. You know, some want Patricia fired, some want Patricia to stay. I'm on the boat to say Patricia needs to stay. He is key. Like, if Patricia gets fired and Quinn gets fired too, then this franchise sets themselves back another 5 years. Because you're not going to build any culture if you keep changing the head coach every 2-3 years. I know everyone's saying, oh, but Jim Caldwell, we should hold Patricia to the same Caldwell as Jim Caldwell by saying, hey, 9-7 wasn't good enough, so this should be good enough. Can I tell you something about Jim Caldwell's 9-7? Most of his 9-7 was carried by Matt Stafford. Stafford carried Caldwell. Caldwell was not a good coach. Because what was it, 2016, the Lions 9-7 year? Like, how many fourth quarter comebacks did Stafford had that year? I think it was 8 fourth quarter comebacks. And you could only win 9 games. Hell, that year, all the Lions had to do to win the NFC North in 2016, the year the Lions went 9-7, all they had to do was win at least 1 or 2 of their last games. Or at least beat the Packers in Week 17. They lost their last 3. Then they lost in the wild card to Seattle, got blown out. And then 2017, the 9-7 year, the one where Caldwell got fired. Here were 2 games that the Lions should have won to get in the playoffs. All Caldwell had to do was beat a Baltimore Ravens team that was dead fucking last in offense at 32nd. All the Lions had to do was beat a 32nd ranked Ravens offense. What happens? The Lions get completely blown out by that Ravens offense. Then in Week 16 against the Bengals that were tanking and had a garbage offense, all the Lions had to do was beat the Bengals and they'd be in. And then they lose to the Bengals. And did I mention that throughout Jim Caldwell's entire 4-year tenure with the Lions, Caldwell had a healthy Matt Stafford. Like, the only injury of note Stafford had was that broken finger in 2016 where Stafford in the end had to wear that weird-ass one-finger glove. Like, that one weird-ass glove. That was a interesting call. Yeah, notice how when Patricia came in, all of a sudden Stafford's got injuries and broken bones and ligaments in his back. Part of that is because the Lions have not gotten Stafford, a Pro Bowl offensive lineman. Hell, the only offensive lineman that's possibly even remotely close to a Pro Bowl caliber is maybe Frank Ragnow. And maybe Taylor Decker if he can stay consistent. Because Decker's been too inconsistent as all hell. And every head coach has a lapse in their second year. Because since everyone wants to hop on the Jim Caldwell train, let me name something about Caldwell here that most people have forgotten. In Caldwell's first year with the Lions won 11-5. Made the playoffs, lost in the wild card round. You want to know what the Lions' record was the following year? The Lions went 7-9. They took a step back and missed the playoffs. Someone wants to talk about, a lot of coaches have progress in their second year. No, not true. Caldwell took a step back in 2015, his second year. Hell, since everyone wants to talk about Matt Nagy and the Bears, Matt Nagy's first year with the Bears, they went 7-1. I mean, not 7-1. They went 12-4. Made the playoffs, lost in the wild card. This year, it looks like they're probably going to miss the playoffs. Might go 9-7, 8-8. Hell, since everyone wants to talk about Kyle Shanahan and the 49ers, Shanahan's first year with the 49ers, they went 6-12. You want to hear their following record? Their record the following year? Let me just pull it up here. The following year, the 49ers went 4-12. And now this year, they improved drastically this year. Year 3 under Kyle Shanahan. Like, Lions fans need to understand, building a process and a culture takes time. Like, I'll say it here, the Lions have been retooling ever since Patricia came in. Like, when Patricia came in, he brought his staff in. He then brought some players from that benefited from his system in too, and got rid of a lot of Caldwell guys. And then more Caldwell guys were shut the door. I think the problem was, Glover Quinn said it perfectly, that nobody wants to play in a Patricia system. Because a lot of the Caldwell players that are still in the Patricia system, a lot of the Caldwell players are still triggered and butthurt and pissed over Caldwell getting fired. I'll say it here. It's been like, what, almost 2 years since Caldwell got fired. If you're still triggered and butthurt and pissed, if you are still butthurt over the Caldwell firing, then I got some advice for you. You all need to grow the fuck up. It's been 2 years. Move on. Like, goddamn. Like, Jesus. And hell, how is it Patricia's fault this year when the Lions have led in 12 out of their 13 games this year? Hell, how is it the coaching's fault when 11 of your 13 games have been decided by 7 points or less? Hell, last year the Lions were getting blown out all of last year. Like, let me name how many times the Lions lost by double digits last year. You had Week 1 against the Jets, Week 8 against the Seahawks, Week 9 against the Vikings, Week 10 against the Bears, Week 13 against the Rams, and then Week 16 against the Vikings. So that's 6 times last year the Lions lost by double digits. This year, the Lions have currently lost only by double digits only twice. At this point last year, it was 5 times. Only 2 times this year. And hell, you're all trashing Patricia's defensive scheme, and yet in the offseason, all you fans were praising it. Hell, let me put this in perspective. Last year, the Matt Patricia defense's first year, the defense was ranked 10th. A top 10 defense. 8th against the pass, 10th against the run. Only problem is, the defense couldn't generate turnovers. This year, the defense did generate a lot of turnovers at the start of the year. And then the Green Bay game happened. In Week 6. With that bullshit hands-to-the-face call on Trey Flowers. And then the wheels fell right off the defense ever since. Because the defense is afraid of how to touch a player, thinking, is it going to be a bullshit flag or not? Or is it going to be some shit? Like, that's been the problem. Like, the Green Bay game has really destroyed the Lions' season. Because ever since that Green Bay game, the Lions have only won 1 game since. They have not recovered from it. Hell, the Lions trading Conway Diggs was them throwing in the towel on the season. And then the Stafford injury really was them throwing in the towel. Because Stafford injury really killed this season. Now, Conway Diggs, he did want to play in the system. He just couldn't shut up. That was it, plain and simple. Because you got a lot of players here that want to play in this blue-collar mentality where they put the team first over everybody else. And honestly, this system won't go anywhere until all the Caldwell guys are gone. And I do think Darius Slay is going to get traded in the offseason, without a doubt. Slay will get traded. Because Slay's starting to become a bit of a cancer in the locker room. Like, Slay's went from big play Slay to big cancer Slay. And hell, everyone wants to fire Patricia after 2 years. It's like, I also have to say, like, the Lions gave Jim Schwartz 5 years. The Lions gave Jim Caldwell 4 years. So why does Patricia not get that long too? Like, the Lions have been retooling since. Like I said, it takes time. Give Patricia another year or 2. Alright, the main problem with this defense is the lack of a pass rush. And that the defense cannot finish a game. Like, they've had 5 blown fourth quarter leads. They've blown 5 fourth quarter leads. And that's been a big factor in a lot of losses this year, that the Lions cannot finish a game. They cannot finish it. Part of it is because you have a lot of young knit talent, like a lot of rookies and first or second year players in as the starters. Hell, a lot of the Patricia and Bob Quinn players that they brought in and drafted have actually played well. Especially Helani Tavai. Like, Helani Tavai is now the one that's relaying the plays to the defense. He's the one that's relaying the calls. Like, he's become the general on the field. Like, Tavai has been outplaying Jared Davis almost every game this year. Mainly because Jared Davis does not fit this defensive scheme. Honestly, like I said, I say Davis needs to go to outside linebacker or become an edge rusher. Because he's more of a pass rusher than a run stuffer. Or coverage. Like, I do think the Lions need another linebacker to help with the coverage flaws. Because a lot of the linebackers in this scheme have a lot of flaws in coverage. Because mainly the main thing the Lions are getting burned at this year is in the pass game. Like, they've been getting lit up in the pass game a lot. And hell, you all want to criticize the defensive scheme. Let me name some here. Last week, the Lions, 30th ranked defense went up against the 8th ranked Minnesota Vikings offense. Vikings can only get 20 points. And hell, let's even add this further on. Last week, the Lions' 7th ranked offense went up against the 16th ranked Vikings defense. Lions could only score 7 points. And those 7 points came at the 2-minute warning in the 4th quarter in garbage time. God damn. What do you want me to say? Also, how is it Patricia's fault when every player worth a damn on your team is injured? Like, the defensive line has not been a healthy unit all year. Like, Romeo Okwara I think he's missed a couple games with injury. Deshaun Han has had issues staying healthy all year. Mike Daniels has missed some time with injury. Snacks Harrison has missed a couple games with injury. Like, the only two defensive linemen on this team that have had playing time, that have been healthier throughout the year, have been Trey Flowers and Ashawn Robinson. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention, Austin Bryant has been injured all year. He's had concussion issues. And hell, what is Patricia supposed to do when you have to start 11 rookies in one game? 11 rookies. Because of how injured and banged up your team is. Like, what do you want Patricia to do? Put on a pair of pads and go on the field himself and do it all? Like, come on. Like, I think the problem is this fan base has zero patience. Because a lot of fans, they're fed up with the losing. And they just want a winning team. They just gotta understand that it takes time. Hell, we're being patient with the Red Wings rebuild. And we're being patient with the Tigers rebuild. Because the Tigers have already said this is going to be the longest rebuild in their franchise's history. Like, if we're being patient with those two rebuilds, what's the Lions' excuse? Why are fans not being patient with the Lions rebuild, and yet they'll be patient with the other two rebuilds going on right now? Like, hell, at this point, in terms of the Detroit coaches and all the Detroit sports, I would rather fire Red Wings head coach Jeff Blashill over Red Lions head coach Matt Patricia right now. I'd rather fire Jeff Blashill over Patricia. That's where I stand with that. Like, seriously. What's Patricia supposed to do? It's the players, they're not good enough. They're not playing good enough. You know, they're still trying to learn how to finish games. Like I mentioned. This defense needs to learn how to finish games. Just like I said, give Patricia another year or two. If this situation does not improve in 2 years, then I'd say, yeah, fire Patricia and Bob Quinn. I consider the regimen a failure in 2 years, if it does not improve. But seriously, it takes time. You've got to be patient, all right? This stuff doesn't happen overnight. Everyone wants to talk about the 49ers, how they're good now in year 3. The 49ers have been rebuilding for 4 years prior. They've been rebuilding the 49ers were rebuilding ever since Jim Harbaugh got fired. Because once Harbaugh got fired, everybody on the 49ers that all wanted to play for Harbaugh all left and retired. And then the 49ers were forced to rebuild right there. So yeah, I do think this rebuild's going to take a while. It's going to take a couple years before they're going to be good. Just give it time. Be patient. Now, in terms of this year, I do know the Lions, they do need a pass rusher. I do not think the Lions will get Chase Young. I do not think the Lions will end up with the second pick. Because Chase Young's going to go second overall in the draft, whoever gets that pick. Like, to put this in perspective, the only way the Lions get Chase Young in the second overall pick is if they lose out, the Giants win 2 of their last 3 games, the Dolphins win Dolphins win 1 more game, and if the Redskins win 1 more game. If those 4 scenarios play out, the Lions will get the second overall pick. And I highly doubt it. I think the Giants winning 2 of their last 3, I think that one's very possible. Dolphins winning 1 more game, I do think that is possible too. Redskins, I don't think they're going to win another game this year. And I have a feeling the Lions are going to win Week 17 against the Packers. I feel like Stafford's going to come back in that game. Even though I highly don't want Stafford to come back, I want Stafford to come back healthy 100%. Especially when you got nothing to play for. Like, you're just playing for a draft pick at this point. Like, the Lions, they do need a pass rusher. Linebacker, defensive end, edge rusher, whatever. One of those 3. Because the pass rush has been mainly one of the main reasons why the secondary's gotten lit up this year and torched. Because the opposing quarterback has had all day to throw, and they just can wait for someone to show up wide open. And that's what's happened. Like, you need a pass rush. You can't give a quarterback all day to throw. But yeah, I just thought real quick, I just give my thoughts on this whole thing. Like, the only Lions fans at this point I respect that understand this process, like, the only Lions fans in this community that understand this process are Ace Taker, No Mache, Mondo Ray Moore, and as much as I don't like this last one, I will give him props. There goes Moby. Those 4 are the ones I have the most respect for. Because they understand this process. They understand this takes time. And you know what? You all need to understand, to trust. And you know, any other Lions fan that still trusts this and understands it takes time, I have respect for you too. Alright, this doesn't happen overnight. Like, it takes time. Plain and simple as that. But yeah, I'm done ranting on. I think I gave my thoughts on this. And we had to add on to this, like, the main issues with the Lions in Patricia's first year was the offense. Like, last year, offense was ranked 24th, 20th passing the ball, 23rd running the ball. Part of that was because the Lions had a weak tight end core, and we had Jim Bob Cooter as our offensive coordinator. And the Lions in the offseason fixed those problems. Patricia and Quinn fixed the problems. Got rid of Jim Bob Cooter, brought in Darrell Bevel. You know, they brought in some more receivers like Danny Amendola. They also drafted for guys like Travis Fulgham. You know, they also brought in tight ends Jesse James and Logan Thomas. And they also drafted for TJ Hawkinson. And, you know, and now the Lions' offense has improved a lot drastically. Stafford had a bounce-back season before he went down with that back injury. Like I say, give Patricia and Quinn an off-season to fix his defense, and then this team improves some more. Like, it takes time. I do think the Lions will improve in year 3 of Patricia and Quinn's stay. Like, this defense has shown signs of being top tier. Like, the Chiefs game, they went back and forth with the Chiefs. Were able to slow Patrick Mahomes down. Like, they gave Patrick Mahomes one of his worst games to date before the Colts game. Before the Chiefs and Colts game the week after. Like, the Lions showed everyone how to slow down the Chiefs' high-power offense. Like, it takes time. It just takes time. Just give him time. Just be patient. That's all I gotta say. Be patient. But yeah, now that's all I gotta say, folks. Hope everyone's a great day, and yeah, peace out.